iRacing, you wanted the best, you got them 4 abreast. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws.
Fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got rid of the outside of both of them. Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up to him.
Oh my God! Big crash. Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled.
It's very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, here we go.
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my God!
God, what?
Welcome one, welcome all to this very special broadcast in iRacing's Week 13 on SimSpeed TV. Hello to our audience on YouTube and on Twitch as well. My name is Reese Gardiner, Southpaw Racer, still recovering from a bit of a cough. This is Maxx Bantz VII, the Netcode Awakens, the traditional Week 13 Bantz event that has become a bit of a fixture here on SimSpeed TV and in the iRacing community. Joining me is Jay Kennedy. Jay, we've been the commentary crew for the last couple of Maxx Bantzes, and it's always resulted in an entertaining, sometimes controversial event. But this one just ramps it up even more. We've got the Pontiac Solstice at Wild West Motorsports Park, and a few extra things besides.
Yeah, hello everyone. It will be an interesting night. As I said, interesting add-ons to this event as well. A car that doesn't drive well at the best of times, on a dirt track that it doesn't behave well with at all. Throw in the usual curveballs of Maxx Bantz where there's something out of the norm as well. That being that every driver will be given a drive-through at some point, which actually looks like it's a bit of a shortcut here. We'll add an extra curveball for tonight that we just don't know what to expect, so it should be good fun.
It certainly should. We've got 15 lap heats for this one, and there's going to be a 10-lap final at the end of it for the drivers that get through. But getting through is going to be a matter of luck more than anything. As you said, Jay, Wild West Motorsports Park in the Pontiac Solstice, excuse me, still getting over this cold. This is going to be a fun broadcast for sure. But Wild West Motorsports Park in the Pontiac Solstice, this thing was one of iRacing's first added cars. It was the first rookie car to be added to the iRacing service, and it was the chariot of choice for many beginner iRacers in the Sims early period. It doesn't carry a very high opinion among the mainstream now because it is a bit of a dog to drive, but at least it teaches you the ins and outs of racing a difficult to drive race car, which is part of what sim racing is all about. But we've just gone and thrown on a curveball by putting it on a dirt track with jumps.
Yeah, well, it doesn't get the nickname the Slowsters for no reason. It's, yeah, as you said, an absolute dog of a car, and you can see there from the onboard it just doesn't want to do what the drivers are wanting it to do. It just changes direction when it lands. It's almost as if the tyres get ripped off the rim when it lands over the jump. It just does not behave how anyone wants it to. So everyone's going to struggle. But the big thing with that is everyone is going to struggle, so it should make it for some entertaining racing, to say the least.
It certainly should. We're coming up to the end of a 20-minute practice session for this first heat, and then there will be a 5-minute qualifying session followed by a 15-lap heat. And the drivers that we've got out on track at the moment give you a bit of a taster for what we can expect out of this event. The likes of Ant Mieperson, Nils Sentkovsky, Jonathan Ben, Dean Mole, who we know from the International Majors series. There's quite a few drivers who we're familiar with on our broadcasts making a comeback for this one, all for the chance at winning a badly drawn JPEG of a trophy.
You can actually see on the roof of Dean Mole's car, he's got a bit of a inspired livery, Dukes of Hazzard inspired livery, but rather than the Confederate flag on the roof, it actually looks like the Maxx Bantz trophy in the Confederate flag colours. So
very nice.
That's quite cool. So I do love the way that people get out there with different liveries. And Ant Meeperson, that's I believe he's bird on the side of the car. That's a bit different.
Yes, certainly. That's a good tribute to his burb. Is Ant's car. We always love the liveries that people come up with for Maxx Bantz. Just highlights the non-serious nature of the event, because this is a non-serious event. It's something that we just do for week 13 just to shake ourselves off, have a bit of fun for just one night.
Yeah, just relax, have a laugh, and remember why we all got into sim racing in the first place, which was to have fun. To start off with, the whole reason we do this is just for fun. And to do something that's got no seriousness to it at all, it's always a really good reminder on why we're here and why we enjoy doing this. So we've enjoyed the last 6 Maxx Bantz. Hopefully Maxx Bantz 7 lives up to expectation, because I remember the last one. Wow, that was controversial but entertaining to say the least.
Yeah, it certainly was. We do tend to get even though we make it clear about the nature of this event, there's still a few drivers who like to push the envelope in terms of the rules, in terms of whether or not they deserve penalties that are given to them. But the nature of the event is simply that no one is safe, and that is I think creates a greater sense of community among the drivers. They're all just trying to survive together.
Yeah, exactly right. It's purely survival, this event, and top 6 from our races will go through to that final you talked about, and surviving the heat I think is going to be more important than trying to race your way to the win. Just making sure you stay out of trouble is going to be the key, and surviving the jumps is going to be the key. I know Rishi did some practice laps earlier trying to get a handle on the car, and the car just does not go the way you want. When it lands, it just shoots off sideways in random directions, and you've got no control over it at all.
Yeah, exactly. And not to mention, when it comes off the jumps, if you take them too hard, it actually completely ruins the car. You could even potentially get a meatball flag if you take those jumps a little bit too extremely. Of course, fast repairs are unlimited in this race, so if you do end up completely messing up your car, if you haven't stuck a landing, you can always jump into the pits and get a brand new machine. So there's no excuse for simply going into the pits and not coming back out again. No rage quitting.
Yep, 100%. If you rage quit in this event, well, you've signed up for the wrong event, haven't you? It's all about, as we said, it's all about pure fun tonight. So we should at least have a bit of a laugh, and at the end of the day, if that's all we get from this event, then we've had a win for the night.
We certainly have. Looking at the track conditions, I've noticed Jake Sperry, our friend of SimSpeed, who sets up the servers for this event and actually comes up with the majority of the formats. I've noticed that while practice is a clean track, qualifying has maximum track usage. Now, usually that would be a good thing, because on a tarmac circuit, you'd have lots of rubber on the circuit, you'd get lots of grip. But on a dirt track, it's definitely not what you want, because it means that the racing line has been run on so much that the dirt on the track surface has been baked into a hard clay.
Yeah, well, it basically means that there's no grip. So, I mean, the guys are struggling for grip as it is now. When it comes time for them to do that qualifying run, they will have even less grip. So that should make it at least mildly entertaining for a laugh to see if anyone survives and actually can do a lap. But we'll see how it goes. It'll provide a laugh for us either way.
Yeah, for sure. The last few drivers out there making sure that they know the track, that they know the circumstances coming into this. And as we come into the qualifying session, a brief couple of notes about the track. Wild West was added very recently as part of iRacing's expansion into off-road truck racing. Some fantastic content coming out of that. I love the Pro off-road trucks, particularly the Pro 2 Lite that was added in this build just now. But Wild West is their traditional stomping ground. It looks like a very simple track from the air, only 1, 2, 3, 4 turns to speak of, but there's jumps and mounds and berms all the way down those straights, and you have to control not just the way your car goes through the corners, but the way it travels through the air too.
Exactly right. You have to hit the jumps straight. If you hit them on a slight angle, that'll potentially roll your car over. So making sure you land your jumps accurately is just as important as hitting the jump straight and maintaining speed the whole way through. But we're about to get into into qualifying. See if anyone can actually land a lap time in. They all come out of the pits together, which should make it very, very entertaining to see who will get track position.
Yes, indeed. And it looks like Dean Mole is leading them out. And it's a very frustrating pit lane here at Wild West because the exit of it is downhill. You actually have to ride the brakes to make sure you don't get a penalty for exceeding the speed limit of 40 kilometers an hour. And once they get out onto the track, they find, to their complete and abject horror, the track is a lot more slippery than they first realized.
Exactly right, and you can see there how slick the track is too, and it's completely opposite conditions to what they had in that practice session. So they be trying to work out where there's some grip very, very quickly. As you said, only 5-minute session, so some guys might not even get a lap in, and some drivers may be happy with just starting at the rear of the field, as we see Mole and Dalton side by side across the start line.
Yeah, always fun going over that jump, and it looks like Dalton's actually overshot it there into the first turn. That's going to allow Mole a bit of a look up the inside on the exit. Of course, running side by side and having to jack your car sideways for this hairpin, Dalton's still having some issues with the front end of the car getting its grip in. It's so tempting to just hurl the car into these corners, but the Solstice just isn't that kind of car.
The other thing too is because this is a qualifying session, these guys won't want to make contact with each other because that will ruin their lap time and it'll nullify the lap time with a 0x contact. So they need to be a little bit careful on how they behave in this qualifying session, because definitely not the normal style of qualifying that these guys would be used to racing in this style of racetrack. But I'm going to guess that Joshua Carroll Walden will go to the top of the timesheets because this shot from the last runner in that group, and now they're 3 wide across the finish line. All took the jump together.
Yeah, and Dean Mole came off it a bit substandard, I think. Oh, right into the concrete. But Josh Carroll Walden on top of the timesheets by 1.5 seconds, which is quite the gap, but that can very easily be made up if you take those jumps right.
Yep, just seeing James Clay come across the line, and he is starting a lap, so we'll won't pay attention to his time. Jonathan Ben crosses the line. He's about to start a lap as well. Looks like everyone's just starting a lap. Some guys have just come out of the pits a little bit later than everyone else.
I would have expected that there'd be more of them trying to go completely sideways and slide the car through the turns, but that is definitely not what they're doing. Looks like everyone's just tiptoeing their way around the circuit at the moment. And you can see, particularly in Ben's case, he is babying that car around the circuit. No sliding to speak of unless he gets to the exit and decides to kick it out. And this run up towards the last turn is one of the most interesting, I'd say, because over that jump that he just went over, that's one of the places where the cars can spear sideways without warning.
Yeah, there, and the big jump over the start line. Oh, just got caught up on that huge burb on the inside. I must say, I do like Jonathan Ben's livery as well. Pigs can fly. That painted up looking like a babe, I guess you'd say. It's pretty cool, and that'll slot him into P4. Good lap time there from Jonathan Ben.
Very nice, and taking good care around the circuit as he usually does. Well, Neil Sentkovsky has actually managed to put himself up into second with a 104.3, and his car is already looking pretty substandard. Quite a bit of damage from landing off those jumps the wrong way. That is going to take many a race tonight, I feel.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think once these berms start building up too, drivers will get caught out with them, and that'll cause some big issues tonight as well. So Sinkowski looks like he's coming across the line to complete another lap, but that will not improve his time. So only 2 drivers out on track that have not set lap times at the moment. James Clay and almost hits the pit wall. The inside wall at turn 1.
Goodness me. You can also see drivers testing out pit entry, because remember, there's a fair chance they will have to drive through the pit lane at some point.
Yep, random penalties given out for all sorts of bizarre and weird reasons. So just because is usually going to be the reason why drivers will be given a penalty tonight. That'll make it a little bit more spicy as well as the session progresses.
It certainly will. Well, there's no time left on the clock. There's just the ending period for drivers to finish their last lap. A lap around here only takes just over a minute, so there's not much time to be gained if you decide to go out for another run. Not much point to it, but Carroll Walden's still on the top. He's improved to a 102.6 and now a 101.6 as well. Joshua Carroll Walden showing that he definitely knows his way around this unconventional car track combination.
Yeah, great lap time, a 1.7 second advantage at the top of the timesheets. Looks like everyone has done their final laps as well, so we can go through the start grid for heat number 1.
We certainly can. Josh Carroll Walden up on the top of the timesheets. Cody Bird will be starting alongside him. Jonathan Ben and Neil Sentkovsky on row 2. Aaron Curtis and Gareth Robershaw 5th and 6th. Chad Dalton and Dean Moll rounding out the top 8. Last 4 cars in this heat will be Ant Meeperson, the last driver to set a lap time, and Brad Wingard, Eric Interley, and James Clay rounding out our 12-car field for the first heat of Maxx Bantz 7.
The other curveball that these drivers may not have noticed is they're not only going to have a bit of a bizarre start with these cars, it's going to be a standing start just to make it even more difficult for these drivers. So that should add an extra spice to this race in a few moments' time as they get ready to line up on the grid. It's going to be a very, very interesting run up to turn 1.
100%. It's a big view that you get from the starting grid at Wild West. That wall of dirt leading up to turn 1 and a jump for good measure. Of course, we got the Geico Lizard, the Geico Gecko, I should say, keeping a watchful eye over everything too. Unfortunately, I don't think he'll approve of much of what he sees.
We approve, though. That's the most important thing. We approve of what's going on tonight. So we're ready to go for Heat 1. And we definitely are going to see some Bantz around about 17 minutes for each heat. So we'll see how long it takes to actually get through the heat, who gets the first penalty, and who can actually manoeuvre through pit lane safely.
Yeah, manoeuvring through pit lane safely is certainly one of the biggest elements as the revs rise and the green flag goes. Let's see how much of a wheel-spinning fiasco this start is. Joshua Carroll Walden has not gotten off to a great start. He's lost 2, now 3 positions. And Jonathan Ben immediately going into the pits, as is quite a few drivers. I don't know if they've been called into the pits.
Yeah, 3 drivers have driven into the pits. Ben, Curtis, and Clay. So, not sure if they have, but it's a bit of side-by-side action back in the field. Dean Moll, crossover move on Robershaw, and also Meeperson through as well, but Cody Bird leading the way. And have a look at where these guys come out of the pits. They're coming out right back where they were. They haven't even lost any time driving through the pit lane.
That's incredible. They have lost no time at all. Of course, it helps that the drivers that are out on track are not pushing at all. I'm actually noticing, particularly up at the lead, they are not getting any air over those jumps. They are tiptoeing their way over them. And Cody Bird, let's see how he takes the jump at the start-finish line this time around. Lots of big air, but a softish landing, which is good to see. And he's managing to keep a stable lead there over Josh Carroll Walden. Sentkovsky, meanwhile, having a bit of an adventure in turn 1 with Dalton and Ben. Ben just getting a little bit sideways on the run out of turn 1. This is going to leave the door open to Curtis. Oh no! That's not going to work. Spearing straight to the left, and Curtis right into the wall. not a good start to his campaign.
And Dean Mole in the pits, and you're talking before about the run down the pits. As just see Senkowski's actually gone around, and Dean Mole in the pits was in 8th. He's going to rejoin and actually gain a spot from being in the pits. How's that?
Excellent stuff. I love how it basically doesn't make a difference whether you go through the pits or not. But either way, that battle for the lead looking to gain a bit of traction because Josh Carroll Walden is starting to gain a bit here on Cody Bird. We might see a potential move for the lead of the race soon.
Yeah, he's got it down to 0.6 of a second. Last lap by was, 0.7 faster. So he's got a bit more speed as we saw in qualifying. And I actually wouldn't be surprised to see a few drivers actually come into the pit lane and try and use that to actually gain time. It looks like it might actually be an advantage to come into the pits because you don't have to worry about the jumps.
Yeah, that is a very true point you make, but I don't know if our administrator would particularly approve of drivers going into the pits of their own accord. I do believe that the ruling is you have to be called into the pits to actually get into the pits. Cody Bird having some major traction troubles over those jumps already, you see? Bucking sideways immediately.
I'm glad you said bucking.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fun broadcast, this one. It looks like an absolute horrible car to drive. We're only 3 laps in and these guys are already looking like they've had enough of driving this car. Typical Maxx Bantz fashion that everyone's had enough very, very early on. And Cody Bird, even with those big issues, just set the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, 105.0.
And have a look at the lead they've got over everyone else at the front. Bird and Carroll Walden are 7 seconds ahead of the rest of the field.
That's an incredible gap they've managed to pull already.
Oh,
and
side by side.
Oh,
Ben and Dalton.
Easy, everybody. Dalton looks like he might go for this, but Ben is trying his best to gain any semblance of a fast line. Actually managing to get a good exit there. Put the power down nicely, so he's safe for now. But for how long? Probably not very long, considering he's just gone wide again.
I think that piggy might have a little bit too much junk in the trunk, maybe.
Oink oink.
It's reasoning behind the pig livery is apparently it drives like a pig, so it might as well look like one.
I guess that's fair.
Bird lost a bit of time at the front now. It's back down to 1 second for the lead of this race. So, we'll see how quickly that closes up, and it closes up very, very quickly through turn 1.
Yeah, it definitely does. Bird is still having issues with coming off those jumps, and Carroll Walden is continuing to use that very deep line into turn 2, which helps him on the exit, but Bird seems to be holding station nicely with the current tidy line approach that he is employing. Oh, yeah. Looks like he might have a run, actually.
Yep.
Carroll Walden. Bird, I think, a little bit of a missed shift, and oh, goodness me, Walden with his own issues there over the jumps. Problem is, with a track like this, it's actually more beneficial to take the racing line over the jumps because they're naturally a bit more worn down due to more cars going over them.
Yeah, exactly right. It definitely improves your ability to maintain the straight cars side by side back in the field. Dean Mole and Stinkowski side by side. And while Nils has the lead in this little battle for now, I don't think it'll last too long. I'm actually just seeing Cortez off the circuit.
Oh, and spearing straight across was Chad Dalton. Across the start-finish straight. That car doesn't have a rear end anymore. A front end, sorry. Rear end not looking too flash either, with a lot of smoke pouring out of it.
Yeah, we'll just get a quick modem simulation replay and see what's happened there. Just went to light it up, and oh, geez, that was close. And he'll have to bring it in the pits, use one of those unlimited fast repairs and get back out on track. So we go back to the lead of the race, still at 0.8 of a second. But you can see under brakes, Carroll Walden looks so strong, just can't maintain the run out of the corner.
Yeah, once again, he's going a bit too deep into the corners, which is helping him to maintain a bit of momentum and square off the exit, but Bird is... Oh, there we go. Walden goes into the pits. So he's been called in, and Bird immediately responds by nearly getting into the wall in turn 1, as you do.
Probably looked in his mirror and goes, where's he gone? And got distracted by it.
Well, Cody Bird all alone now in the lead of this race until he gets called into the pits. Now, where is Walden going to come out? He has just crossed the pit exit line. So, yeah, not far behind him at all. He's going to try and maximize this exit and come out. He has lost a bit of time from that. But,
he'll have a run, though. He'll have a bit more speed with that momentum out of the pit lane.
Yeah, he certainly will. Bird is having a lot of trouble with traction. He hasn't seemed to spend a moment down that straight line section going in any direction resembling forward.
Love looking at the live speeds of the guys too. I've just noticed the fastest anyone's going is about 115 k's an hour. This is the slowest race we've ever done in Maxx Bantz. With the fastest speed they're getting to is basically as they cross the start-finish line just before the jump when they're tapping the brake to straighten the car up. Occasionally they're hitting about 120, but not much more than that. For the rest of the lap, they're under 100 k's an hour pretty much the whole time.
Yeah, in fact, Bird was only just touching 110 on the run down to turn 2 and taking the turns at a leisurely 40 kilometers an hour. So you're definitely driving the Solstice in the circumstances it was meant for, slow.
Yeah, doesn't have the nickname the Slowstest for no reason. You see Ant Meeperson's in the pit, so Jonathan Ben moves into third for now. But have a look at this little battle behind him. It's very, very tight.
Oh, Bird is off. Bird is off and Walden is off too. They've actually both done the exact same thing. And taking an interesting route back onto the circuit, but that was a brief moment of excitement.
Random simulation replay, just a bit of wheel spin before they got up to that final jump on the back straight. And wide it goes when it loses loses traction and gets a bit of air. Amazing how they both took the exact same line.
Well, it's something that you actually notice a lot as a sim racer. If a car goes off in front of you, there's a very high chance you will do exactly the same thing, regardless of how much concentration you're applying. But back down in the field, the battle for for 4th, 5th, and 6th is really starting to hot up because Dean Mole had a very bad run there down the start-finish straight, and he was going to be in trouble with Jonathan Ben, but Ben has just been called into the pits, so he's got a little bit of time to assess his situation.
Just noticing that Cody Bird is the only driver yet to be called into the lane. So when he does get called in, because we're 99% sure everyone will get called in at some point. Whoa! Bird! Oh! That was close.
Me. I tell you what, for this is the most tense race lead drive I've ever seen from anyone in all my time broadcasting at SimSpeed. Cody Bird is struggling out there, but fortunately for him, it seems Josh Carroll Walden is struggling just as much.
Yep. And the ironic thing is they're struggling the least out of everyone. Fastest lap of the race that time by, even with that big mistake from Cody Bird right at the finish line. The only driver to do a 104 in this session so far. So other drivers doing 107s, 108s and 109s. So incredibly good pace from the guys at the front in comparison to everyone else in the field.
Jonathan Ben's just been called into the pits once again for some reason. He's probably a little bit frustrated having to go through one more time. Of course, he'll be fighting for one of the near transfer spots for the finals. So these guys have to be careful. If they don't time their run through the pits perfectly, if they don't... Oh, actually, speaking of, Cody Bird coming into the pits, so this is going to be interesting. One for the race lead.
I just actually think that Jonathan Ben has come in for a bit of damage repair. Come in and took a spare car and... Oh,
Bird's being a bit cheeky. He cut the corner in the pits.
Yep.
I'm sure there's no law against that. He was also traveling a little bit quickly in the pits too, so
Oh, look
bit
at Carol
sneaky.
Walden running wide, coming through that corner. He takes the lead away.
There we
New
go.
leader.
Well, unfortunately for Bird, despite his attempted shortening of pit lane, it hasn't worked out well for him. So now he'll have to face a car being in front of him for the final few laps of this heat. They only have 4 laps to go when they cross the start-finish line next.
Yep, and they've got a huge margin behind, so these two can really battle it out. And probably get the shoulders out a little bit too, because yet to see these two make contact, and both of them into the pits.
Oh, there we go. Sperry's right on the mark, isn't he? Let's see what Bird does this time around, because these couple of turns in the pit lane, you stand to gain just a few tenths from it all. It looks like they're both following the rules this time around. Bird actually pulling into his stall, getting a fast repair, so...
Or stop and go, maybe.
Oh, no,
tyres.
Oh, okay, well, he's just lost the race, hasn't he?
He has.
There we go. Congratulations, Joshua Carroll Walden, unless he gets called into the pits again. He enjoys quite the lead now.
33 seconds is the lead.
So Ant Meeperson is probably, well, he's already passed Bird in the pits, so he's basically secured second. Senkowski then into third, and Dean Mole will find himself in fourth. Let's see how long Carol Walden's car lasts, because it is starting to look like it's coming apart at the panel gaps.
Well, Cody Bird is actually back out. He's rejoined in 5th, so he's going to hold on, and he's got a fresh car past Dean Mole pretty quick. Mole's car looks like it's in big trouble as well, because he's struggling with his machine.
Yeah, he looks like he's just coasting at the moment. Not actually going flat out down that straight, only touching about 70 Ks, so I think he's well aware of the circumstances. He's just looking to try and get to the end.
Yeah, exactly right. And Bird, well, he doesn't care. He's got a fresh car, so he's just going to launch it over the jumps now. We might see a fastest lap of the race now that he's got that fresh car. But Joshua Carroll Walden, the front of that front bumper on that car looks like it's a fairly destructive and damaged.
We'll see if he... Nope, he's staying well away from pit entry this time around, so he has not been called in. Knowing Sperry, definitely be thinking about giving Carol Walden another drive-through just to close things up, but not sure how that's going to go, because the lead that Joshua currently has is basically unassailable at this point.
And the other thing too is that you don't lose too much time when you actually come through the pits as well. So it's probably not
Very
really
true.
worth it. So Carol Walden with a lap and a half to go. 33.6 second lead. Ant Meeperson in his beautiful Burb car. I must say that's one of the most out there liveries we've had in Maxx Bantz so far. Something so different to everything else we've ever seen.
Yeah, mostly they just go for the memes or for references to their own sim racing careers, but that's the first time I've ever seen a tribute to a pet on a livery, and I really like it.
Yep.
Good stuff, Ant.
Yep, something very, very different to everything else we've seen in Maxx Bantz. So time for everyone else to lift and get something different out there again. I must say Bo Albert's livery that he's done is very, very unique as well. Have you seen that one
Wait
so
till
far?
you see it.
Oh, no.
Wait till you see it.
Our leader around
Oh.
and heavily damaged.
Oh, and straight into the pits he goes. So on the very last lap, that all came about simply because he was a little bit sideways over the jump.
And he rolled it twice as well, so
Oh,
heavy damage. So this may not be over because he'll have to use a fast repair. And
Yeah,
Meeperson could steal this race here. White flag
could.
out.
yep, and Walden has not gotten it into his pit box at all. He's actually struggling to get it in. Oh, he's managed to do it. He's gotten the fast repair. His car is completely clean. Meeperson then, down to turn 2. There goes Walden out of the pits. This is going to be a close one.
Yeah, it will be fairly close, but I think Carol Walden will hold on by the looks of it. Yeah.
Yeah, looks like Meeperson is babying that car around this circuit. He's barely showing any fast pace at all. Just trying his best to protect second from Nils Sentkovsky. But there we go. The first heat of Maxx Bantz 7 has been run, and it has been won here. Joshua Carroll Walden with that slight scare on the last lap.
Oh, no!
Oh, don't jinx it now. Well, there we go. He's managed to cross the line. He's done it.
Yep.
It's okay. Good enough.
Robinshaw stuck in the wall. Stuck in the fence. Gareth Robinshaw on the side there, you can see.
Yes.
Cody Bird. Oh! Jumped over the wheels. Oh, good job.
Fantastic. I love the antics these guys get up to. It's brilliant.
Oh, and Dean Mole, true Dukes of Hazzard style, straight over the top of Joshua Carroll Walden and continued on.
Brilliant stuff. Well, that defines that particular result. A very clean jump from Dean Mole, I have to say. But Walden wins it. Ant Meeperson coming in 9.9 seconds behind. Nils Sentkovsky in third, with Bird and Mole completing the top 5 and Ben in 6th. And the rest of your field, James Clay, Chad Dalton, Gareth Robichaud, Aaron Curtis, and Bradley Wingard and Eric Interley appears did not take the start. So, unfortunate for those guys, but we still have a little bit to go in this event. A few more heats and then a final. Cannot wait for it, Jay.
Yeah, looking forward to it, and we'll have Heat 2 coverage in a couple of moments' time, because we need to get in and get ready to see who's in Heat 2, and then from there we can have a very, very good laugh at what's going to happen and how it's going to unfold.
Yeah, well, I guess this first heat was a bit of a taster for what is potentially to come in the later stages of Maxx Bantz 7, the Netcode Awakens. We will be joining you again very, very shortly once the next heat is ready to go.
Of the best sim racers, $100,000 on the line. Who will rise to the challenge? This is the most competitive and sought-after season in iRacing World Championship history. This is where legends are made. This is the Porsche Esports Super Cup.
Growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. Growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail.
Racing, you wanted the best, you got them 4 abreast. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction. He's going around the outside of both of them. Maloney.
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up to him.
Oh my God. Big crash. Oh my goodness. Half the field's going to get rolled.
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, here we go. Oh no, that's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?
It's the Maxx Bantz Open on SimSpeed TV, the 7th running of the event, the Netcode Awakens at Wild West Motorsports Park in the Pontiac Solstice. We've already run 1 heat, and now we run into Heat 2. The next 6 cars in the final, excuse me, will be decided here. I'm still not over that cold. This is off to a great start already. Reese Gardner here, with Jay Kennedy joining me. Excuse me, Jay, I gotta clear my throat.
That's okay, Reese. And hello, everyone. Welcome back for heat number 2, and back for some more Bantz, back for some more stupidness, I guess is the best word to describe this. It's nothing more than stupidness, and it's a great way to unwind before we get back into the seriousness of real racing again, starting from tomorrow, and another 3 months of flat-out non-stop action and real racing before we can do another one of these and relax again for a night.
Yeah, certainly. We always like to take these opportunities when they arise and make the most of them. Well, for this next heat, coming up to the halfway point of the warm-up session as all the drivers join, Daniel Stevens is currently at the top of the timesheets. Matthew Norris, Philip Morton, and JC Richards. A few of the names that we will recognize from this. Rick Van Doorn currently assuming the top of the timesheets now, but it's looking like another interesting field of drivers for this second heat.
Yeah, and good to see that Daniel Stevens, who designed the Piggy livery for Jonathan Ben, like all of the MFR guys that are here tonight, are running the Piggy livery. It's a pretty cool look. I must say, I love the dirt that looks like it's flung off on the rear guards and down the side out the front of the front fender on the side door there. I reckon that's really cool. They've done a really good job, and the pigs can fly on the side as you watch them go over the jumps. That is really cool. So well done to a really cool look for those cars as well, because let's just be honest, they're not the most pretty cars out there, so why not run with it and use that to your advantage, I guess, when you design a livery for this event.
Yeah, Pontiac's mid-2000s sports car turned into a muddy sow for Maxx Bantz. Fantastic to see the imagination that is present on all these liveries. We got a few of them out there, actually. Of course, we've got Daniel Stevens in the pig-style livery, Philip Morton's livery, the Naked Clown. That's quite the interesting one. Yeah. Is the U-Haul logo on the top because he's hauling it around the circuit?
Probably. I'm not sure.
He's not doing it at any great rate of pace. No. He is sitting a bit low in the timesheets at the moment, and that's not going to help things either. That's exactly the same thing that we saw the leaders do in the last heat. I get the feeling we're going to see quite a bit of that in this one.
That's the alternate line that we'll see throughout this race, no doubt. Trying to see what other liveries we've got. saw Will Anderson there just go straight out into the flagpoles in the middle of the circuit, leaving the pit lane. I don't know if he's done any practice yet, and may not know which way the circuit actually runs, because now he's going the wrong way and causes a huge crash.
Oh, jeez. Oh.
Welcome to Maxx Bantz.
Nah, I mean, no practice is the way to go, right?
Of course.
If you practice for Maxx Bantz, you're doing it wrong.
Well, we saw that there was a practice session went up, but very, very quickly turned into an expression session, I guess you'd say, where they were...
Expression session?
Do you remember they used to call them the expression session when the X Games first started, and they were doing all their tricks and things like that, and doing things different? It was always called an expression session. That's pretty much what they were doing. So the drivers are actually trying to see how many cars they could jump with all the other cars lined up side by side. Basically like I don't even know.
An Evel Knievel jump.
Yeah, Evel Knievel. That's a great way to describe it. But yeah, it's very, very entertaining. Oh, what a pit entry for the 30 car there.
Yeah, wow. Yangji Lin actually managing to make it into the pits in more or less one piece.
How, I don't know.
Yeah, that was quite the adventure for Lin.
Oh, have a look. Actually, just gone back on the replay. Just ahead was, I believe that was, I don't even know who it was. It was rolling down the front straight. But that was crazy. But, we're just getting ready now to get into qualifying again.
And the track conditions have changed a bit, Jay. Practice with moderate usage, 52% usage. Qualifying this time has low track usage, but the race is 100% run in. So the track's going to be extremely slippery in the race session.
It's not going to be great fun for the race, but we might see some very, very quick times in qualifying for this next run. And I must say, big hello to everyone that did tune into the last Maxx Bantz and gave me a lot of grief for having the wrong Maxx Bantz number on our overlays. I did fix that for this time, and you'll notice that I did get it right on the third attempt to make it number 7. I don't know if you've seen that yet, Reese, but I hope you did like it.
I do. I appreciate the commitment to correctness, Jay. We're all about getting things right here, of course.
I was wanting to leave an Easter egg in somewhere for someone, but I decided against it at the last minute. But I promise for the next Maxx Bantz that I will leave an Easter egg in somewhere for getting something wrong for a reference to one of the old ones. How's that for the next Maxx Bantz? But we get ready for qualifying.
I'll start searching.
Or thinking of something that I can do.
All right. Well, I'll definitely keep my eyes peeled for the next one. But qualifying is now in session.
Oh, look at them all trying to get out of the pits.
5 minutes. Oh, goodness. 5 minutes to set a lap time. Norris leads the way out of the pit lane. A couple of cars deciding to get very acquainted with each other's insides.
This is the Pontiac Centipede going on here.
Please don't. Don't pursue that analogy any further. That's an order. God.
Good point. I'm sure that someone was thinking it though.
Yeah, well, I mean, thinking doesn't mean you have to say it, man. Oh no, we've already got a car over. Already got a car over at the front of the pack. Will Anderson not having a good time, attempting to get back onto the circuit, but I think rightly giving up that pursuit. So the first few drivers coming around to start their laps, Philip Morton has already spun. He's going to have another go at that. Rick Van Duyn and Matthew Norris going side by side into turn 1, a good test of what may happen during the race. And Norris really struggling to get the power down, especially coming down the hill. You don't want to be too far to the left or right because those berms at the side of the track, they will suck you in.
Oh, 100% right with that. And yeah, staying on the racing line is really, really crucial in this car more than any other, because there's no real suspension give when you do go over the jump. So you just hold on for dear life when you go over the jumps and hope that your car continues on in the right direction. But at the front of the field is Rick Van Dorn, and at this stage looks like he might go to P1 if he can avoid the wall on the outside of the final corner. It looks like he will, and this should shoot him to the top of the timesheets for P1.
It certainly should. Sailing through the air, and, well, it looks like there was not a lap time registered for him. As Nicholas Scaradu and JC Richards quickly populate the top of the timesheets now in that car 14. Couple of drivers taking some trips through the air, going sideways down on the start-finish.
Oh, have a look at Austin Knight, though, across the start-finish. That's not where he should be.
No. Generally, straddled atop a wall is a very bad position for a race car to be in.
Yep. So, get a replay of how that actually happened.
This event is a case study in what happens when you put a road racing car onto a dirt track. Because remember, the Solstice is built for track racing, mostly at the rookie and lower level. So you put it on a track like this, it's always going to end in tears.
100%. It's not a car that should be run on this style of circuit, as Rick Van Dorn does go to the top of the timesheets on his second run. In saying that, not many cars should run in this style of circuit. Pretty much the rallycross cars and the trucks.
Man, even the rallycross cars have trouble with this one.
100%.
I've taken the Subaru around here a few times, and I have not been able to escape massive floor damage from landing really hard off the jumps. This track is definitely only a circuit for either those pro off-road trucks or motocross bikes.
Yep, 100%. It's a very, very tough circuit. The jumps very, very tough. The clay base dirt, so it does mean that there's not much give when you do land. And have a look at Philip Morton struggling, just rear wheel spin in the mud, 70 kilometers an hour up the hill. Just doesn't want to go up the hill at all. You change into a gear when it's on the limiter and it just doesn't move. So it just runs out of revs. So down the hill he goes. You don't want to go as fast as your brain is telling you to go, because you're going down the hill, you're thinking, yes, go for it, go for it, go for it, but the car just doesn't want to behave as you would expect, and Morton crosses the line, no lap time counted.
Yeah, JC Richards behind him was having quite a few adventures going sideways down the straight, because that is one of the things that you've got to remember. We mentioned it earlier. Coming off these jumps and making sure that you ride all the rises and falls in the track correctly, it requires a lot of throttle control, a lot more than some would realize.
Yep, it does. It's probably more throttle steering than actual steering in this car, the way that you're driving it around here. So it's a very, very tough combination, and see Rick Van Dorn there on board, just almost hitting that berm on the inside of the final corner and almost shooting him off the circuit, but he's checking up because he decided he doesn't want to go any quicker. JC Richards, though, he might go quicker on this lap. He comes out of the final corner. Got a bit of work to do to gain a spot, though.
Yeah, he's running out of time to get that lap time in, and a little bit sideways there over the rise, but a 106.8 for him, that is not an improvement. Just goes to show, even the slightest error in traversing any of these jumps will make big differences to your lap time. Well, Rick Van Dorn decided that he didn't have to go any quicker, and he's right to not go any quicker because he's managed to take P1 by 9/10 of a second. Yanji Lin is going to join him there on the front row. JC Richards and Matthew Norris line up 3rd and 4th. Roy Clark and Bradley Wingard 5th and 6th. And 6th is going to be the transfer spot that we will have to look out for. Nicholas Scaradu in 7th place. Justin Houston, Daniel Stevens, Jordan Watson, and Austin Knight in rounding out this field. And not setting a lap time, Will Anderson, Ole Fontana, and Philip Morton. They're going to have a bit of work to do coming into this one. But there's always the ever-present threat of drive-through penalties.
That's a very, very real threat, those penalties, because there will be some given out. There will be a lot given out for bizarre and random reasons, and we'll hopefully find out some of those reasons throughout. It will be a very, very interesting race, this one, though. I think this one will be a bit more tightly contested than we saw in that first one.
Yeah, we've already got a drive-through penalty issued to Matthew Norris for illegal suspension. And it's easy to make your suspension illegal around a place like this, but that's no excuse for breaking the rules. So into the pits with you, Matthew, straight off the bat.
We did hear that there were bizarre reasons, and yeah, straight away, it doesn't make any sense at all. So I love it. I love it.
Well, 10 seconds remain until the gridding period is over, and then we can get going. A lot of problems were had off the start by a few drivers who just simply didn't get their power down, but they are away. And it looks like Rick Van Doorn has managed to get a nice clean start. He's gaining already as Yanji Lin gets a poor start. Norris will undoubtedly go straight into the pits. Philip Morton actually going straight into the pits first off the bat.
Wingard.
Some dramas.
Yeah, Wingard just got turned around and just
No.
ahead.
Oh, Justin Houston coming together with Roy Clark. That is not going to be an optimal scenario for either of those drivers. Now Clark, oh God, he's trying to recover, but he can't. His car literally cannot turn when going up the hill.
It's very, very beaten up at the front there, but yeah, that poor car is struggling. Bradley Wingard still trying to recover from getting turned at the start of the race, so he's going to have a lot of work to do. But have a look at this battle pack: 9th, 10th, 11th. Oh, sorry, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. Watson, Anderson, Clark, and who else is in that pack there? You got Knight as well. Sorry, Clark's not in that pack, but Houston, Knight, Watson, and Anderson all together.
Yes, indeed. There has been another drive-through penalty given out, but I was unable to hear who it was for or what was the reason, unfortunately. But side by side, oh, yep, it was Van Doorn, I believe. But unfortunately, the reason is lost to history. That is an unfortunate side effect of having to commentate while listening into race control. Sometimes it just gets lost in the chaos.
Yeah, it's hard to listen to three things at once, isn't it, sometimes? It's hard enough to listen to two things at once when you've got someone else yelling in your ear. You do very, very well. It's not easy to have a director yelling in your ear and keeping your train of thought, but Van Doorn back out on the circuit, rejoins in 3rd position. And the race pace is a little bit quicker, so not quite up as well. Oh, JC Richards, though.
Oh, no.
He's lost it at the front of the field, and he may lose this spot back to Van Doorn.
Ollie Fontana has been given a drive-through penalty for pretending to be an aeroplane. And immediately makes their way into the pits, duly serving that penalty.
JC is struggling. I think he's broken the suspension in that car now because it is not turning properly. It's just going to the right. So I'm pretty sure he's broken that car.
Yeah, that car's starting to crab pretty badly. So if he does end up going through the pits, he may have to nab a fast repair for that. He is fighting for what could be the lead of this heat if things go his way. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do from this point.
Just going to get a modem simulation replay on Justin Houston, who's had an issue. It looks like he's had to escape back to the pits. I'm suspicious that he may have got stuck in the wall here. And I'm pretty sure that he hasn't got stuck in the wall. I think he's got stuck on his roof. And I was right.
Yeah, well, that is very unfortunate. Meanwhile, Will Anderson is the next driver to have been given a drive-through penalty. It was something to do with the FIA. I can't quite pick what Sperry said, unfortunately.
JC Richards now feeling the pressure from Daniel Stevens coming up behind, and Stevens a lot quicker that last lap by. Have a look at the lap time, though, for our race leader. A 1:01.
Wow. That's pretty quick for race laps.
They're doing 1:08 in the last race.
Yeah, well, and curiously, this is on a much more used track.
Oh, JC's blown up.
Oh, no. JC Richards trailing some smoke behind him. Well, I think he'll be able to make it back to the pits if he just keeps going. He's only got
He's going to struggle to get up the hill.
yeah, true. He's just barely gaining speed. And all the other drivers, my goodness. And it looks like there's been another drive-through penalty given to Will Anderson for not getting enough air on the jumps. That's a fair reason for giving them a drive-through penalty. You should all be striving for maximum air time in this one, otherwise the screenshots are going to look terrible.
Yep, exactly right. And I mean, how are you going to practice your Evil Knievel's if you aren't doing big enough jumps? It's a legitimate reason to try and get up there. JC Richards did make it back to the pits. Gap at the front of the field was at about 4.5 seconds. It is back down to 3 as Van Dorn closes in. Just that lap there did the fastest lap of the race, a 1:01.3 on that last lap.
That's some excellent pace there from Van Dorn, but it looks like he has been the next person to fall victim to yet another drive-through penalty. Once again, I lost the reasoning because, unfortunately, my audio levels are a little bit out.
Let's just say it was for doing the fastest lap of the race. That's a good enough reason, isn't it? Oh,
Yes,
watch out for the pit entry! Oh, just made it in.
Got it down nicely, didn't he?
Yep, did it
Good
very,
to
very
see.
well. Style points for that entry there too. That was a good job. JC Richards been able to get in the spare car, get back out on the circuit, and is in the cutoff position. I see smoke just ahead though. That's the 15 car of Justin Houston. I don't think he's going to be able to limp that back in the pits. He hasn't got it repaired by the looks of it after rolling it from before. Philip Morton has just got a spare car as well, and he's trying to get it back out on the circuit.
Yes, indeed. Well, the field has started to space out quite a bit now, and it seems like Will Anderson has not paid attention to the calls into the pits because he's just been officially black flagged by Jake Sperry with a 30-second stop and hold.
And maybe he hadn't heard the calls. So all the drivers were told to be on the Discord and also listen to the in-sim commands. They're just getting a replay of Jordan Watson having a bit of a whoopsie and looping it around. He's managed to get it going again. Great to see people from all around the world joining in for this time. We've seen it being a majority of Australians in previous ones, but got quite a few members joining from the Americas and Europe as well for this one, so it's great to see. And even some from the international club as well.
It's a global series. It brings people together in mutual hatred of bad car track combos.
It leaves it very, very open to what we're going to do next time. We've done oval racing, we've done formula racing, we've done all sorts of weird things. I'm interested to see where the weirdness goes to next time.
Yeah, well, I'm interested to see too, because we don't usually figure out what we're going to do until a few weeks before the race is due to kick off. So I am going to be just as much in the dark as you, Jay. Meanwhile, JC Richards has been given a drive-through for inciting revolution.
And the big thing with that is he's in 5th position. If he loses a spot, that'll of course put him into the cutoff position. I actually noticed there Philip Morton was facing the wrong way at pit exit. Now
He's also 2 laps down, so...
yeah, he's had to...
Oh, he's got another slide over the jumps, Jay, and another. I'm so sorry. There we go. Right into the wall is Philip Morton. Will he be able to get out? I'd hazard a guess not. He very quickly gave up on that. Drive-through penalty for Austin Knight. The reason? Not having enough incident points.
Which is funny because he actually has more than most others in this race, so... JC Richards is coming to the pits to serve his drive-through, and Austin Knight will come in next, but Lungi Lin out in front, over halfway through this race, 7 laps to go, leads by 4.5 seconds, but Rick Van Dorn, every lap, is taking big chunks of time out.
Yeah, he certainly is, and another update from race control. Ole Fontana, drive-through penalty of having too clean of a car.
That's a good reason.
It is. I mean, I don't think you'll be able to see any car out here that isn't dinged up in some way. Rick Van Doorn starting to come under pressure here from JC Richards, who has a clean car now and is looking to try and gain some time. Van Doorn staying wide, getting the reasonable exit off the middle of the corner, but Richards a lap down on him. Certainly be wanting to change that.
Yep, and Austin Knight's just coming out of the pits as well, so JC Richards got a little bit of work to do to gain some time and gain a position. So that was a pretty cool battle with them going side by side through the air over the start-finish line. 6 laps to go.
And an interesting 6 laps it's certainly going to be. A new drive-through penalty is coming in. Daniel Stevens for not fitting a transponder. That is obviously something you need to keep track of in sim racing. If you don't fit a virtual transponder to your virtual car, you run into some problems, don't you?
Well, I actually think that iRacing uses GPS rather than a transponder, doesn't it, for its data collection?
Well,
I'm sure he can dispute that one post-race, can't he?
Oh, I'm sure he can, but who knows?
Work.
Maybe Sperry is mandated in invisible ink in the regulations, a requirement for a transponder to be fitted. That's the kind of answer we may get. But
well, we've already been talking to him before about changing the regs in between races just because. There's no other reason than just because.
Yeah, well,
one
thing,
in the pits.
Yes, so Lynn making his way through. And I feel like he's not going to lose that much because Rick Van Doorn was 3.5 seconds behind at the line.
Side by side here, it's going to be close.
Yeah, it's going to be close, isn't it? Van Doorn has already been given a couple of drive-through penalties. Speaking of penalties, another one has come in for... oh god, which one was it? I think it was Justin Hewson for political differences.
Okay. Fair enough as well. We don't want politics to come into this race. Daniel Stevens has come back out after another trip down the pit lane. So only one driver in the field that hasn't been into the pits yet, Jordan Watson, and he finds himself in the magic 6 spot. So he will be hoping that he doesn't get another penalty. You just see the 11 car facing the wrong way. Actually going backwards rather than the wrong way. And Van Doorn around on the start-finish straight, and that car is smoking.
Oh, it is. Oh, he's going to reverse it and get into the pits. He'll be driving straight across the track. Oh, no. Oh,
that was Matthew Norris. Oh, this is going to be bad. He needs to get into the pits too because he won't bring it round to get back in around the circuit. What happened to him, though?
Oh, goodness me. He's still trying to get up the hill. It just turns out the car just speared sideways coming off one of the jumps. Oh no, actually, he hit a car.
Possibly the 11 car, was it? The car that we'd seen facing the wrong way?
No, it was the 12. It was the 12 of Ole Fontana. Fontana was stopped. Obviously, had a spin of their own. So straight into Ole did Van Doorn go.
And I've just seen that on replay now. So yeah, that was a big impact too. So no wonder that car had smoke. Hopefully Van Doorn can get back out on the circuit and maintain that position because. If he loses that spot, as I just see Jordan Watson, as we said, was the only driver yet to do a drive-through. He's just made his then, but...
Janji Lin given another penalty.
Oh no.
30-second stop and hold this time.
And guess what the lead is?
Yeah.
30
seconds. JC Richards has been given a drive-through penalty for a jump start, apparently. Which, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure there is a jump on the start, isn't there?
Yeah, oh yeah, true. Everyone did a jump start, didn't they?
Casey's just absolutely cleaned up Nicholas there in the 11 car. Just full on takeout.
Yeah, well,
and Van Doorn back out. Van Doorn back out, and guess what position he's in? 7th.
Oh no,
7th.
This is going to be close. This is going to be so close for the final transfer spot.
Van Doorn okay. Back out in 5th by the looks of it. So Jordan Watson will hold on to 6th. So Lynn in to stop and hold to make it a little bit interesting. I mean, to serve his penalty. Isn't that
Yes.
was right, wasn't it? Sorry,
Yes.
I thought we were Formula One for a second there.
Oh,
Thought we were
incoming
NASCAR.
drive-through penalty for Roy Clark. Unfortunately, I didn't hear what he said.
Maybe it was for no communication with race control. Which
Maybe.
is why you didn't hear it.
Yeah, that's it. Well, then wouldn't I be given the penalty?
Well, you can have a penalty if you want. Oh no, Jordan Watson around and he's lost.
Oh.
Lost the magic 6th spot. It's dropped to
No.
7th. And Roy Clark now has the 6th spot, but Roy Clark is in the pit, so this is going to be close for 6th and 7th. The cutoff spot between Roy Clark and Jordan Watson for the end of this race.
Oh, and there's only a couple of laps left to go for these guys as Watson makes his way past Philip Morton, who is just having fun out there, it seems.
He's definitely not
Drive-through
racing.
penalty. Daniel Stevens, not enough blocking.
Daniel Stevens is back in the lead. So I don't quite... anyway, I just see another car get spun around. Oh no, Roy Clark's just been spun. That was Will Anderson.
That was huge.
And this
and
is
Clark's
Jordan Watson
trying to
coming
get going.
through. This is side by side here. White flag in the air as well for our leaders. So
Oh,
1.5
get on the
laps
power,
to go.
Jordan. Oh, he doesn't have any power, does Watson, in that number 13. That car is so badly damaged that it has no straight line speed. So
Yep.
Clark's just gotten away with it.
Yep, just driven away. They'll get the white flag right now. So Jordan Watson will be hoping that he can get some momentum down the hill. But you can just see that car's crabbing. It's just sideways over the jump. Not coping too
Yeah.
well at all.
Daniel Stevens has managed to make his way back out of the pits, and he maintains the lead of this one. It's white flag for him, so failing any dramas on the start-finish straight, it looks like he might have this one, but Yanji Lin is not that far behind, it has to be said. So any mistake from Daniel Stevens from this point onwards could spell certain doom. Will he make it to the end? One jump. Two jumps. There's a damaged
there's
car on
smoke
the
ahead.
circuit. Oh, it's
Oh.
Morton. Oh, but Daniel Stevens just manages to take it. He wins Heat 2. Yanji Lin finishes in second and decides to go straight into the pit entry wall for good measure.
Literally as well, straight into the wall, stuck in the wall. Philip Morton's trying to be a bit of a battering ram facing the wrong way. And I also saw on the timing that JC Richards was around, but he will maintain that spot for now. It's on between Rick Van Dorn and Austin Knight as well for 4th and 5th place.
Yeah, Rick Van Dorn, he's gotten a very good exit from turn 3,
Oh,
actually.
Roy Clark's lost 6th spot.
Oh, what?
Roy
Right
Clark
at the very
is,
end.
yeah, Roy Clark's in 7th. What has happened to him?
Goodness me. That's a big shame there. So
I've got a feeling that
means-
Morton may have caused contact with him at the finish line.
Oh, I'm going to take a look. So, yeah, actually, it seems like Clark just went straight into Morton. I mean, he had a bit of time to get out of the way of Morton standing there, but it looks like he just didn't.
That seems a bit
Well,
strange, doesn't it?
Yeah, either way, that is a big shame for Roy Clark. He misses out on a spot in the final, but good show nonetheless. So Daniel Stevens takes the victory in this heat. Yanji Lin in second. JC Richards holds on for third, where he started. Austin Knight from 11th to 4th. A great run for him. Rick Van Dorn only has a 5th place to show for his pole position start. And Jordan Watson rounds out the top 6. All those drivers now through to the final, Jay.
Yep. And disappointment for Clark there in the end. So he misses out, and 14 drivers took the start. 6 will go on to the next race, and we've got one more heat to go. And it is going to be an absolutely hotly contested one as well.
Yeah, these are going to be the final 6 transfer spots for the upcoming final to end the event and decide who is the son or daughter of Banter. You're watching the Maxx Bantz Open on SimSpeed TV. The Netcode Awakens.
iRacing, you wanted the best, you got him four abreast. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws.
40 of the best sim racers, $100,000 on the line. Who will rise to the challenge? This is the most competitive and sought-after season in iRacing World Championship history. This is where legends are made. This is the Porsche Esports Super Cup.
iRacing, you wanted the best, you got them four abreast. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws.
fantastic. This is GT Racing right now.
He's got tracks and he's got rid of the outside of both of them. Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up top.
Oh my God! Oh, big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled.
Six very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no! That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?
You're watching Maxx Bantz VII, the Netcode Awakens on SimSpeed TV. Hello once again to all of our viewers on YouTube and on Twitch. My goodness, this Week 13 special event has thrown up a few surprises and a few complete non-surprises knowing this event. But we're in Heat 3 now, the final heat to decide the field for the final. The top 6 from this one, as with all the other heats, will go through. So let's see what happens over the next 15 laps. Reese Gardner here with Jay Kennedy. And Jay, this is where some of the big guns have started to come out. We got Bo Albert competing in this one. Sean O'Hara, Armand Foyot-Bois, a Maxx Bantz regular, Mia Ott as well. Scott Cervic in addition to that. Scott Cervic, of course, I remember from some of my previous European racing days. He's decided to turn up for this one. Good to see you, Scott. But Heat 3, Jay, my goodness,
Stacked,
it's going to be an interesting one. Yeah.
Timu Toika in here as well, so we've seen Timu in a few Maxx Bantz Opens as well. Of course, we know how skilled he is as well, so great to see Timu out on track. And this is the heat to watch. We were told beforehand that Heat 3 was going to be the one to watch. I didn't realise it was going to be this stacked, so this is going to be really interesting. And again, there's some pretty cool liveries going on out here too.
Absolutely is. In particular, Bo Albert's one. It's a combination of all the previous Altus Esports liveries, which is a feast for the eyes, I guess you could say.
For the eyes, it's it's horrible to look at, but amazing at the same time. It is literally every Altus Esports livery stacked on top of each other, and it looks very, very out there and very different, but and good to see we got another Piggy out on track as well. Sean O'Hara, of course, runs with MFR and running the Piggy livery. It's good to see another Piggy out on track. They have looked cool, and well done to those guys for putting the pig out there again.
It's a good concerted effort from the guys at MFR. And we always like that when people put in some kind of effort for Maxx Bantz. Of course, all the effort in the world doesn't mean anything in this event, so it's all an exercise in futility, but it's appreciated nonetheless.
Even the drivers that don't put a livery on at least get a bit of effort putting in something that isn't just plain and boring and white. So good to see. The times in practice actually quite close in this session, so makes it a little bit interesting to see. It's 1:05.8 is the fastest time, but the top 5 separated by 3 seconds, so pretty close for the good English here, the majority of the field.
Yeah, close for this event anyway, in this car track combo, because we have seen quite big gaps start to develop throughout these races, because this car and on this track, I mean, the Solstice is unpredictable enough as it is, but you throw it on a track like Wild West and there's absolutely no hope for consistency.
Yeah, exactly right. There's it's a hopeless combination. At the end of the day, this has been one of the toughest combinations we've seen, other than maybe the Lotus at Spa. It was a pretty tough combination, and definitely sorted some of the drivers out very, very quickly. Some didn't even make it off the start line. It was that interesting. But this has been a real difference maker. This that livery of Bo Alberts is horrible and beautiful at the same time, isn't it? It's,
yes.
It's
beautiful.
It's been an interesting night of racing, and looking forward to the final. It should be very, very heated once we get there.
Yes. Was that a pun, Jay?
Possibly.
Possibly.
I mean, we don't know what's going on.
Everything's possible in Maxx Bantz. Taking a look at some other liveries around this field, Armand Feuillebois, that's quite the interesting livery that he's got on his machine, Gamer Boy. That seems like an apt expression for
Gamer Boy engine oil.
Yes. Well, I mean, what other engine oil would you put in your Solstice? It's the best.
Go Fast Juice or something? I don't know.
Yeah, is that a rival brand? Are you starting up a rival brand to Gamer Boy engine oil?
Yep, I just did, just then.
All right. Well, we'll wait to see your car in the next Maxx Bantz, Jay.
I'd love to race a Maxx Bantz. I really would.
Get one of the Talk Boys to run a Go Fast Juice livery next time.
All right.
We'll see how that goes.
Done.
Excellent. It's set in stone. We have entered the temple. We have read the sacred text, and it is time for qualifying. So the drivers out once again in this 5-minute session. They will only be able to get a couple of laps in, but at the end of the day, the order in which they start is not going to mean much of anything. Leading the way out of the pits is Mehdi Sakai in the number 4. A simple livery on Mehdi's car, but perhaps the one of the cleanest ones we've seen out of the entire Maxx Bantz field tonight.
Yes, there's been some really out there ones, but as you said, the simple ones often look the best too, don't they? There's sometimes less is more with these liveries for Maxx Bantz. Tell you what though, it's struggling to get traction.
I was going to say, less is also more in terms of throttle application, and Mehdi Sakai is going for complete excess on every single corner, sliding it all the way through turn 1. That is excellent to watch, but I don't think it'll be that fast. Look at him kicking up the dirt down the hill. Should also note that the track usage layout is different again in this heat. Practice has 15% usage. Qualifying, it's a completely clean track, no usage. And race has 2% usage. So it's another change up.
Yep, and the final will no doubt be something completely different again. So we'll no doubt see something very, very out there once again. Interesting that it's only one driver or two drivers that have really big I rating in this entire field on dirt road, that being Bo Albert and Timu Toika. Everyone else is below 2,000 in the entire field over all 3 heats. So not many drivers have done a lot of dirt road racing between the Rallycross and the Pro Trucks.
No, certainly not. And I don't think any of the experience gained in those categories would help you at all for this.
Yeah, correct.
It's literally the complete opposite. It's a road-derived car behavior teaching machine placed on a track that will absolutely wreck your suspension and wreck your car simply by doing a lap.
Yep, exactly right. It's a car that shouldn't be out there on this track, and that's why we are enjoying the night of racing so far, because it just shouldn't be doing what it's doing. But lap times are a lot slower in this session to what we've seen previously in the night.
Yeah,
I think off the pace.
The comments that I made earlier about the track getting worse as it's more used, that would be relevant for most dirt road racing, but I actually want to take it back a little. I think it's actually a benefit for the Solstice being regularly a tarmac car. Those more tarmac-like sections of compressed clay on the racing line would definitely help, but obviously that's not going to happen in this one.
Yep, I think you're right. I think we might see some faster lap times as the race progresses. I think a lot of guys may be taking it a little bit easier in qualifying because, you know, if they hit the wall, such a short qualifying time that you don't want to end up making contact with another car or getting involved in an incident. Just seen Bo Albert and Timu Toika move up the timing sheets a little bit in regards to their lap times, and Sean O'Hara also doing a better lap time. So a lot of guys that have not set times yet and just coming out of the pits, so you're going to have to rush around and actually get a lap time in.
Yeah, time is running out now. David Milnarovic running a little bit deep and letting Teemu Toika go. Actually, I have to say, Medi Sekai, he certainly has been hanging the tail out quite a bit on his laps, but it's worked out well for him. He currently sits on top by 9/10 over Bo Albert, so good pace there from Medi.
And Medi and Bo both have come in to get spare cars and go out again. Teemu Toika's decided to just continue on, try and set a better lap time, but I don't think he's going to. I'm saying that, he got a great run out of the final corner. What will he do when he crosses the line? Actually, he could go to the top of the timesheets here. It's a better time. We'll go into second.
Yeah, so he beats Albert, but Sekai's 107.004 seems a bit unassailable at the moment. I don't know if Bo Albert or Teemu Toika will be able to do anything to combat that in the last minute of the session. Albert has just started what will be his final lap, so we'll have to wait and see about that.
Yep, we'll watch this lap as well, see what he can do. Sekai has just come across the line to start the final lap. Actually made it across the line in time, so we'll continue on to finish this lap. Actually, no, didn't come into the pits, so they're done as well. Ott's done. O'Hara also done, so Albert's the only one that can really challenge for the top of the timesheets now. See what time he can do.
It's a reasonably clean exit there from turn 3, but once he starts going over those rises and dips, the rear end of the car goes so incredibly light. The only thing you can do is soar away at the wheel and hope that you keep going in a straight line all the way over the berm at the last turn, hook that car in, get it rotated. Oh, that's not going to help his run, that little adventure. Neither will that. Oh, he spins. And ultimately, that means that there is no lap time registered for that lap. That contact right at the end screwed him over.
Yep. And, probably would have been enough to get into second position. May have been enough to actually take the win. So, yeah, disappointing end there. Arman, the last driver to come across the line to complete a lap. And, oh, spoke too soon. No, going to finish the lap. 16-3.
It looks like, unfortunately, that's not going to register. But there we go. Qualifying is over, and we already have our first drive-through penalty assigned. Teemu Toika is going to be given a drive-through penalty, and Jake Sperry's reason is exactly what you think.
That's the reason, just exactly what you think.
Yes, I don't know what to do with any of that information.
So it's not actually a reason, it's just exactly what you think is the reason.
Yeah, so or maybe it's open to interpretation.
Let's
you can
ask everyone out there on YouTube what people think should be the reason for the first penalty.
Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, make it official. Why do you think Teemu Toika should be given this drive-through penalty? Let us know.
Yep.
Well, Medi Sekai starting on pole for this one. He's got a very nice view of turn 1 at the moment, and it's going to be a clean track, which Sekai has already proved he's very quick on. So he could be a challenger for victory in this, but the drive-through penalties are always a threat. And Bo Albert, starting in 3rd place, he'll certainly be looking to take advantage of that too. The revs rise for Heat 3 of Maxx Bantz 7, and they are away. A very bad start there from Sekai. Have a look at Toika. He's managed to get that power down beautifully. Look at the gain he's made. Already, there are drivers going side by side. Toika straight into the pits to serve his drive-through penalty right away. But with the amount of jostling that goes on the first lap, he probably won't lose any time at all.
Yep, Bo Albert at the front of the field now, so taking the lead away from Sekai and Mia. Ott also trying to get up the inside to try and steal that lead away.
Oh, Sekai's had to go wide there, so Ott's gotten a great exit, and now she is up into second.
And Toika, have a look at where Toika's going to come out. Right in the middle of the pack.
This is interesting. He's come out right behind Sekai and Ott, and Sekai, bit of a slide there off turn 3, and that's allowed Toika a fantastic exit. He's just gone straight back into second place. He could challenge for the lead here. He's almost going there for the move on Bo Albert. Scott Cervic, meanwhile, has been given a drive-through penalty for an illegal helmet as Teemu Toika now takes the race lead. and he's only just going to hold it as they come across the line. This is the first proper drag race we've seen, but Albert being much more adventurous there over the jump. Sekai almost rear-ending Toika straight into second place. But the pole of the drive-through penalty is hanging over all these drivers. A three-way pile-up almost. They all managed to keep going. Ott manages to back out of it just at the last second. And this mid-pack here, headed up by Sean O'Hara, really starting to clean up these guys in front. Ott, meanwhile, as Snell decides to make himself acquainted with the rear bumper of O'Hara, Ott's been given a drive-through penalty for not having a penalty.
Fair enough reason, a great reason coming through on YouTube. Timu Toika's penalty is for smiling, which is illegal for a Finnish driver to do.
Yes,
I think that's a perfect one. Perfect penalty.
Yeah, that wins. That wins.
I think that's a perfectly valid reason. Look at Sekai over the jump. Just sends it sideways to try and slide it through the corner. And Snell almost making contact.
Woohoo! What a move there. Oh no! Oh no! It's all gone! It's all gone wrong side up. Drive-through penalty coming in for Bo Albert. He has gotten a drive-through penalty because Mia Ott got a penalty.
Fair enough reason. As I just see Ben Snell has come into the pits, possibly to get some damage fixed. Sekai and Toika side by side.
Tell you what, this is certainly not ramping down by any stretch. You can see Sekai has no qualms with hanging the rear out at every opportunity, but Toika's got that throttle control. Little bit of a bump, never hurt anyone. What can Sekai do on this exit? He's managed to get himself hooked up really nicely. Those rear tires gripping a lot better than he probably imagined.
Oh no.
He's got to be careful. He's using every single bit of the track, isn't he? Sam Gunstone, drive-through penalty for being #blessed.
Another valid reason. Bo Albert has continued on and not come into the pits yet, so
naughty.
He'll be told that he has to come in next time.
There we go. He's been given a proper penalty now. He's actually been black flagged by the administrator.
And, the worst bit is this race is the closest out of every race we've had so far, so actual real black flags are a little bit more dangerous in this one. Ben Snell's come out right behind Eric Anelti, and they're very, very close. Just seeing Sam Gunstone's come in to serve that penalty.
Speaking of Eric Anelti, this is actually the first race start that he's taken. Apparently, he was destined for the final heat, but mistakenly registered for the first one, so that's why he didn't take the start. He's doing all right, though. Currently sitting in the midfield. Got news of another drive-through coming in for having too many pit crew members. It's David Manojlovic.
Another valid reason for a penalty, and just seeing whether Bo Albert will come in this time. Yep. Very committed entry.
Goes. As committed as you'll ever see, as our patron saint has said in the past. Ben Anthony is currently at a standstill in the pits with a smoking engine, so he's not having
I'm pretty
a
sure
fantastic
that's against the
time.
rules, isn't it? Smoking in the pits?
Yeah, well, smoking anywhere on the track. Isn't this a no smoking zone?
Pretty sure it is.
I think a drive-through penalty might be coming in for Ben Anthony pretty soon, but he is out of his pit box and making his way back out onto the racetrack. Meanwhile, the battles going on alongside him as he comes out. Scott Cervic currently running in 7th place and just holding off the advances at the moment of Eric Intley and Sam Gunstone. Sean O'Hara has been given a drive-through penalty for having too many something energy drinks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's the other brand from the brand that's all around the circuit.
Maybe. We gotta keep on brand, don't we?
Sekai's broken out to a pretty decent lead right now. It's out to 2.6 seconds, and just throwing it sideways everywhere, which is a pleasure to watch. I must say, he's turned this into a rallycross car, just the way he's sending it sideways and drifting it around. I didn't think you could drift this car like it is being drifted at the moment from Sekai.
That is the most amount of control I have ever seen anyone exact over the Pontiac Solstice. I thought it was impossible to drive that car like that. Teemu Toika having a couple of issues in the background, almost getting into the wall, but he's holding strong in second place. He could certainly be in with a chance at this as the laps continue on.
Yeah, it's only going to take one trip down pit lane for it all to change, isn't it? We've seen how random these have been. We've seen drivers have 4 or 5 of them, and other drivers only have 1. So
Poor Bo Albert has just been given another one, by the way, Jay. You know what the reason is? No sponsors.
Well, I don't know about that. If you look on this bonnet, you can sort of see one. You can sort of see a G somewhere.
I mean,
I can see a Michelin sticker on there.
They may be on the car, but they're not clear. So I think that may be a valid reason. Another valid reason has been given to Medi Sekai. He now has a drive-through penalty for selling illegal replicas of the WinRAR trophy. What a crime! You can't copy my Microsoft Paint work, Medi. You deserve that.
It's the most sought-after piece of Microsoft Paint work ever in the whole of iRacing history. To see a battle for 7th and 8th back in the field. Sam Gunstone, Sean O'Hara having a bit of a fight and change of position there. Gunstone through, but no momentum down the hill. And O'Hara might come back through. The Piggy might get a spot here.
Well, he's right on the inside. He's got that title line. He's able to make it work there beautifully. Gunstone taking that wider line and actually getting a much better exit. So these guys running side by side once again. This battle is not over by any stretch. O'Hara just seems to be able to hook up that throttle nicely on the exit, and Gunstone, I can't really tell what he's doing there, if he's coasting or trying his best to put the throttle down as much. Another drive-through penalty for Jeffrey Collins for keeping hostages in the boot. So I guess that probably explains why he's been having some car control issues. All that extra weight over the rear axle will certainly play havoc.
Yep, definitely. Sekai back out of the pits, and Teemu Toika will probably take the lead away. Oh, have a look at this.
Oh,
This
have a look
is
at
turning into a
O'Hara.
good fight.
Here we go. Drag race down the hill. It's all going to be about who decides to break the latest for this hairpin. Oh, Gunstone moving over. Oh, well, once that contact happened, I don't think there was much that could be done. Gunstone was moving over to the left.
Yep. See Meerot now. Oh, pumping. And just ahead, there's another car around. So they're now into the top 6.
That's Milnarovic. He was in 4th.
Yep, well now back to 9th position.
O'Hara! O'Hara's spun out! Careful, everybody. Drive-through penalty for Nate Stewart for trying the mini challenge without pitting. That was unclear from Sperry. I feel like the enunciation of these words needs a bit of work, Jake.
He'll work on it before the main event, I'm sure.
We
Bo
shall
Albert
see.
back in the pits again. So something going on there.
Yeah,
Back
well, it
on for
looks
the lead
like-
though. It's on for the lead. Change of the lead again. Toika's through.
Have a look at Sekai, though. He's got that throttle down beautifully.
Oh,
kicking up
maybe
the
not.
rear end again. Oh, he's losing all of that momentum that he gained right on the exit. So Toika now having to defend here. Will he go for the over-under? It looks like he is. Sekai lunging straight into the corner. But have a look at Toika. Straight lining the exit. Actually getting much better traction than Sekai did. Another drive-through penalty coming in from the admins. For Eric Intilli for illegal shock springs. Well, I don't know what whether legal or illegal shock springs would do anything. Oh,
Toika around.
That's a huge shame for him. He's lost all of that momentum
Oh, huge crash on the front straight.
My goodness, that is huge.
42 car, and who else was involved there? I think it was Ben Snell might have been involved.
Yeah. Snell has absolutely no front end left, and that was all because he came over the jump as the 12 car, as the 42 car. Sorry, Armand Feuerbar. He was reversing, so pay attention to your F3, folks.
Oh. All I can say is I'm glad this is sim racing because some of these crashes would be disastrous.
Another drive through.
Oh, Sekai!
Oh, yeah, speaking of Sekai, he's in trouble. He's just been given a drive-through penalty for trying and failing to enter Area 51. So now he'll have to try and hopefully not fail to enter the pits.
I think he's got steering damage too from that contact there, so
yeah.
he may actually have to stop and get a spare car because that didn't look like it was tracking too straight.
No.
So Toyka might have a chance to get back into this race.
Well, we'll wait and see what Sekai does. He's not stopping in his box. He obviously wants to continue this campaign. So there won't be a huge amount of time lost. But what will happen to Toyka? He's just coming in now into turn 2. This may or may not be close. Sekai's come back out in the lead. And Toyka, well, that's not close at all, is it?
No. But have a look at Sekai's wheel. He is right hand down about 45% to keep it in a straight line. I don't know if he's going to be able to hold on for the win here. He's going to have to come in and he'll have a black flag for sure. He'll have a meatball flag, so he'll have to come in and get a spare car anyway, won't he?
I would have absolutely no idea if he's gotten the meatball yet, but it would be the drive of Medi Sekai's life. Another drive-through penalty for Mia Ott for cutting the course and giving up the time game.
That's quite a funny one. There's been some funny ones. There's been some absolutely stupid ones, but it has been entertaining to hear these penalties come through. And
there's another one coming in, Jay, for Ben Anthony for shooting a penalty in a car football match before the game. Righto. Well, there's obviously a few stories about these drivers that we are not beholden to, eh?
Obviously, we're out of the loop a little bit here. Nate Stewart and Scott Sovek going at it for 3rd and 4th. Very, very close at the moment.
Yeah, it certainly is. Stewart taking it very easy over those bumps, and Sovek trying his best to keep that car going forward, and that is a big problem there. Up at the exit of turn 3 for Nate
Nobody
Stewart.
can get any grip up the hill. Everyone's struggling.
What is going on, man? The 36 is having a lot of trouble as well. And the MFR car, the pink pig, Sean O'Hara, he's struggling to find any kind of place in this madness. Another drive-through penalty is coming through for Sean O'Hara. The reason? Not putting milk in his coffee.
Okay.
Of course, everybody knows you need a little bit of creaminess to counter the sharpness. Work with me, Jay.
No, I've got nothing. I'm just impressed by how Sakai's still driving around here. He's just doing an incredible job with how bad that car is crabbing. As just see Meirot's facing the wrong direction.
Yeah, having a bit of trouble getting going too up the hill. But down in 7th place, she's right out of the top 6. No transfer spot for Ott as it stands. The current battle, it seems, is between Eric Interley and the drivers around him for that last transfer spot.
Yeah, well, O'Hara's just come out of the pits behind Sam Gunstone, or around Sam Gunstone for that last transfer spot. No, Eric Interley and Nate Stewart still battling it out for 4th and 5th at the moment, though. Still going at it. Just getting a hashtag Team Flat White, hashtag Team Flat White coming through, Reece. So there's your backup for your coffee discussion.
I'm more of a Team Macchiato, but I appreciate the support.
As long as it's got caffeine, I'll drink it. That's my only theory.
Yeah, that's fair. Definitely fair. Well, second last lap here for Medi Sekai. And he's put on a great show for all of us. but will it be a drive-through penalty for him? No. Eric Interley is receiving the drive-through penalty for having a padded seat. Can't have that. But Medi Sekai up the front. I mean, what more can you say? He's employed the exact opposite driving style that we've seen employed so far in this event, and he's actually managed to make it work really well for him.
Yep, definitely has. And even with that damage, the pace is still there. Last lap did a 109. Best lap a 106, but a 109 on that last lap. So massive understeer there. Can't get it turned. So it only wants to turn left. It's turned into a bit of an oval car, but done a very, very good job in the second half of this race, even with that damage, to bring it home.
Certainly has, and Teemu Toika, has to be said, he was challenging for the lead of this one very nicely. Oh, he's suffered a bit of an issue there with Armand Feuillebois. The Gamer Boy engine oil number 42 is going to take its time. Yeah, it's stuck. Definitely stuck. Best of luck to you, Armand. There is nothing that we can do to help you. Guy who doesn't need any help is Medi Sekai, who finishes in as much style as he's driven throughout the course of this one. He'll get through to the final. So will Teemu Toika. A very good drive from him despite the issues that he faced. And all the way back, you can see the huge gaps that have formed in this race. There is Nate Stewart back in third. Loads of seconds behind.
Yep, I think it's 29 seconds behind Sekai. So great job from Sekai, just a huge margin. Sovek in 4th position, Tilly will finish in 5th, and 6th looks like it'll go to Sean O'Hara, which means that we got another piggy in the final.
Let's see if they can fly just as well as they have over the course of this one.
Oh, who's that rolled?
Vaulting his way over there is Sam Gunstone. So, get that cough out of the way as we go through the results. Medi Sekai wins the race. Teemu Toika second, Nate Stewart. Cervic, Interley, and O'Hara into the final. Gunstone just misses out. Mia Ott is out too. David Manalaric is having to settle for 9th, and Jeffrey Collinson rounds out the top 10. Meanwhile, Bo Albert, Benz, Anthony, and Snell, Craig Gillett, Armand Feuillebois, and Alex Constantine will not make it through. A big shame for all of those people, but now, Jay, we're going to have the final, and it's going to be 16 laps because, well, one more for good luck.
Yep, was originally going to be 30, but we thought that it might be a little bit too long of a race, so just going one extra from the others. So 16 lap final, more penalties to be given out just because, and looking forward to seeing what penalties come and how the race plays out. And with those penalties, just if anyone is wondering, they're all completely random, so anyone can get a penalty at any time. It's all 100% random.
Yeah, completely at Jake Sperry's discretion as well, so blame him if you're unhappy. Well, I'm Reese Gardner, Jake Kennedy joining me. We'll be back very soon for the final of Maxx Bantz 7, The Netcode Awakens. You're watching on SimSpeed TV.
40 of the best sim racers, $100,000 on the line. Who will rise to the challenge? This is the most competitive and sought-after season in iRacing World Championship history. This is where legends are made. This is the Porsche Esports Super Cup.
Growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. Growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail.
fantastic. This is GT Racing right now.
He's got traction. He's going in the outside. Both of them. Maloney.
Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up to him.
Oh my God. Big crash. Oh my goodness. Half the field's going to get rolled.
Six very close. These guys I want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no, that's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?
Welcome, one and all, to the final stage of tonight's competition in the Maxx Bantz Open, the 7th running, the Netcode Awakens, Wild West Motorsports Park and the Pontiac Solstice. We've gone through 3 heats of hard-fought and frustration-inducing racing, and now we're here in the final. The top 6 cars from each heat all competing for the right to be a son or daughter of Banter, and to have the WinRAR trophy in their cabinet. I'm Reese Gardner. Jay Kennedy joins me. Jay, it's all come down to this, a 16-lap final.
Yep, and the drivers are going to be in for a bit of a shock too in the next little bit, because qualifying will be an interesting fight for these drivers. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, of course, because these guys have all gone through the motions of this event so far, making sure that they survive the other drivers, making sure they survive the car, the track, and the random drive-through penalties given out to everyone over the course of this race. Already having some fun in the warm-up session for this. Timu Toika and Neil Sentkovsky coming together on the run up to turn 2. And for this one, it's going to be another change in terms of the track. 72% usage for the race session.
So we could see some very, very quick times when it comes to race pace, because we saw the track that was more worn in was faster. So we could see some very, very quick times. And yeah, Sentkovsky and Toika having a lot of fun out there at the moment in this practice session as they get comfortable with the circuit.
Whoa! So you might. Oh, goodness me. Rick Van Doorn, he's been through the wars a little bit in his heat, got a couple of drive-through penalties for his troubles, but he's managed to get into the final in that spin or concede livery. There's a lot of stories to be told throughout the field in this one. What will Mehdi Sekai be able to do, the winner of Heat 3? He put on a fantastic show. What about the likes of Ant Meeperson, Timu Toika, Dean Moll, and Jonathan Ben? Those guys certainly ones to watch out for too. The MFR guys in general and their Pink Pig livery, we'll be keeping an eye out for them.
Yeah, definitely. They've done a really, really good job tonight. They've kept the car clean and out of trouble. I guess that's the key to this race tonight, is just keeping it out of trouble. If you can do that, you're doing better than most of the field. So staying clean, staying out of trouble is going to be a huge, huge benefit come the end of the night. So the Pink Pigs, it's just so Daniel Stevens almost landed on top of another car as he's come across the start line. He, along with Jonathan Benn and Sean O'Hara, will all be out there representing the Pigs. They'll be hoping that one of the Pigs can become a son or daughter of Banter.
Yeah, they might actually add the WinRAR trophy to their Pink Pig livery next time round if that's the case. Certainly something they would like to see, but will they see it? We're going to find out in about 20 minutes' time.
2 minutes left in this practice session, so not far away from getting into the qualifying run for all of these drivers. Just seeing that Dean Moll very, very slow, just trying to work out why he was going so slow. It looks like it may have had contact with another car coming out of the pits. Just noticed Austin Knight facing the wrong way on the start line too. Not a good sign. And just also seeing Daniel Stevens get a fresh car, but Timu Toika back out there with a fresh car as well.
Yep, last couple of minutes of this practice session to get in a little bit of extra practice. In stark contrast to other heats of the night, the practice track usage is actually the same as what the racetrack usage will be, so the drivers will be getting some useful data for a change.
Yeah, it'll be the only time all night, probably all Maxx Bantz history, that they'll actually be getting useful data in the practice session, because I don't think that's happened any time before. Just seeing Team Utoika trying to test out some lines, but that's not the preferred one. He's ended up over the fence.
Yeah, that's always a problem here at Wild West. I mean, sim racing has always been one of those genres where you can take what is real and put your own spin on it, and sometimes you just choose to send it sailing over a wall, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yep. As long as we're all having a smile on our face at the end of the day, we're all happy. That's what this is all about. Another entertaining addition to the Maxx Bantz history of the event. Of course, very, very different from the very first one we had, which was at
Zandvoort in the Mustang.
Yeah, that's right. Mustang. I was trying to think of what car. I thought for a second it was the MX-5, but no, you're right, the Mustang. And then we did number 2.
That was the old A-Class NASCAR at Road Atlanta Club, and
That's right.
10th place won.
That's right. You had to slow it up to try and finish 10th, and then we went to Suzuka next, I think.
Yes, we did, in the Cadillac. That was quite the interesting one. We saw
With
a
the
lot of
spinny wheel.
drivers... Yeah, the spinny wheel too. We saw a lot of drivers using their cars as weapons in that one, which we decided to clamp down on a bit for future events. We don't, of course, we want carnage, but we don't want people getting salty about it.
Yep. Then
Well,
I forget where we went to after that. I mean, Spa last time, but where else have we been?
We did go to Spa, and then it was Talladega in the Skip Barber.
That's right. And I'm forgetting one. There was one in between there somewhere, because there was one that I wasn't here for.
Oh yeah, that was IndyCar at Lime Rock.
Yes, that's right. Oh, they're all
Well,
checking up at the pit exit.
They have started qualifying, but I do think we have it in confidence from our race admin that the qualifying session will be skipped through, so it'll be a random grid for the race. So I'm not sure if the drivers know that. It would be absolutely hilarious if they didn't, but we shall see
Well, if they're
how the starting grid
Watching the
goes.
broadcast, they'll find out in a second that that's the plan.
Who knows, maybe Sperry's decided to pull a fast one on us and not skip through the session after all.
Never like it when we get misinformation.
And that's just Maxx Bantz, isn't it?
Oh, well, misinformation, I think's the alternate name for Maxx Bantz, is it not?
There we go. Session advanced.
Just as I was getting ready to start a flying lap.
Sorry, everybody. Completely random starting order for this one, and it will be as follows. Starting on pole position, Teemu Toika. Neil Sentkovsky lining up alongside him. Mehdi Sekai and Cody Bird lining up 3rd and 4th. Dean Moll and Sean O'Hara 5th and 6th. Daniel Stevens in 7th place. Eric Interley in 8th. Josh Carroll Walden in 9th. Rounding out the top 10, JC Richards.
We've got Rick Van Dorn and Ant Meeperson next, with Scott Sovic and Zunji Lin, Jonathan Ben, Austin Knight, and then we've got Jordan Watson and Nate Stewart running at 18 cars we've got for this one. Just waiting for one driver to hit the field, and just to mix it up a little bit more, rolling start this time.
Oh, apparently so. Well, there's not going to be any incredible drags from the line, as the first drive-through penalty is coming in for Eric Interley. His crime, going bankrupt by buying Pontiac.
Well, yeah, that would have been a bad move to buy Pontiac all those years ago when it was around. Fortunate. Sad to see that they've gone. Now, interesting, the pit line where the pace car pulls in.
Well, there we go. The green flag's out.
And the pace car hasn't even left the track. There it goes.
Well, there we go. That's obviously not the start that most of them would have been wanting. Already there's a bit of carnage. Neil Sentkovsky almost taking a couple of cars out.
These guys that haven't even made it past the start line yet.
Oh, JC Richards is the first one to come a cropper. He's had to spin it round coming out of the start of the lap, but Teemu Toika enjoying a nice lead at the moment over Medi Sekai. Cody Bird actually sticking with them, which is good.
Yeah, great to see. And of course, these guys are all at the front in their heats, so no surprise to see them at the front of this race very, very early. I believe that the grid may have actually been set off practice times by the looks of it.
Yeah, it looks like it. Well, either way, that's the state of play at the moment. And Jordan Watson has been given a drive-through penalty for giving his car a name. So that's the first of the drive-through penalties for this one. We'll be interested to see how they affect the guys at the front, though, because Toika versus Sekai was a really cool battle to watch in the last one. It'll be interesting to see how they stack up against each other this time around, because Sekai is still doing his usual shtick of hanging the tail out every opportunity he can. Teemu Toika is just trying to keep forward momentum.
Yeah, we'll be interested to see how quickly this battle closes up. We've just seen Scott Sovek just off the circuit, and we can see Jordan Watson coming out of the pits. A lap down right in the middle of the battle for the lead.
Daniel Stevens has been given a drive-through penalty for something to do with the front nose. I don't know what other noses there are.
Well, is it actually a nose, or would it be called
a snout?
Snout. Like, I mean, it's a pig. It's not a car.
Yeah, a snout. That makes sense. Well,
we've lost the number 30 car.
Oh dear.
Why? Why have we lost that car, though?
Yanji Lin is actually sitting in the pits. Came into the
massive
pits.
Damage.
Oh yeah, huge damage for Yanji.
I must say, I do love one thing that I can see on that livery is that the mesh has been left on. Yeah, the wireframe's been left on. Always a big plus for me in Maxx Bantz, but it's on for the lead between Toika and Sekai.
Jonathan Ben with a drive-through penalty then for getting lost. Meanwhile, as this battle continues on, where is Ben at the moment? He's down in the pits. So he was in 12th last time he crossed the line, so not much to be lost from that. Leaders making their way past a lapped car. That was Dean Moll, who's just making his way into the pits, and the lead battle is super close now. Sekai's right with him.
Yeah, and how close was Sekai to actually hitting the wall then? That was incredible to see how close he was to the wall. He's running really, really different lines, isn't he? He's just throwing it in there, getting it sideways, doesn't care about it, just absolutely pushing the limits. Great to watch, but I don't know how fast anyone else could do it. It looks like he's the only driver that can actually do it in that method. You see Toika trying to do the same thing, but he just doesn't have the momentum.
No, he certainly doesn't. Another drive-through penalty. Ant Meeperson has been given a drive-through penalty for advertising huge ass racing events, and obviously we cannot gloss over the fact that Huge Ass is running an event tomorrow, the 3 Hours of Catalonia. Teemu Toika, meanwhile, not with a great exit, and Sekai may go for the lead here. Both of those cars would have suffered heavy damage from that hit onto the ground, but Sekai now into the lead, probably only briefly, because Toika's getting a good exit here.
Yeah, Toika will send it up the inside and we'll take the lead back, but I don't know how long for. It's Matthew Norris there just ahead. Oh, just squeezes and takes the lead back.
Niels Sentkovsky has been given a drive-through penalty. The drive-through penalty is for invading Area 51 and coming back with an alien. You know, we can't go exposing those government secrets now. This is a simple sim racing event. We can't deal with that kind of trouble.
Is that the gecko that's on the front straight? The alien from Area 51?
Perhaps. God knows where that's come from. But
well, Geico probably.
Well, yeah, but is
where did they get it from?
Yeah, where did Geico get it from? Area 51. There you go.
Oh, Just
Read
waiting.
between the lines, people.
Just waiting for us to all to... SimSpeed won't be on tomorrow because Jay and Reese have been taken by the government for government conspiracies.
Why are there men in black suits standing outside my window? Timu Toika facing a little bit of drama here. On the other hand, Jonathan Ben just trying to follow his line. And there we go. Medi Sekai briefly taking the lead. Sean O'Hara has been given a drive-through penalty for commentating while driving. Don't you know we're the commentators here, Sean?
Toika's really struggling now that he's lost that lead. Or is it just that Sekai's so much quicker that he's just driving away?
I don't know. I think it might be a bit of both. I mean, Toika doesn't seem to have any more damage on his car than Sekai does, and he's really struggling to get the power down across those dips and rises. Sekai just seems to have the car... that's a bit awkward. Sekai seems to have the car the most sorted out of anyone in this event.
Yeah, 100%. He's just felt most comfortable out of everyone. It's almost like he's been doing practice, so hopefully he gets a penalty for that.
Yeah.
Apologies to everyone else in this race that we're not covering at the moment because the battle for the front is quite intense. There is some other battles going on. The battle for the last podium spot, very, very close as well. Rick Van Dorn now into third over Cody Bird. Bird's dropped back to fourth in his car.
Yeah, very close battles throughout the field as we get news of another drive-through penalty. This one is going to affect the lead, Jay. Medi Sekai for impersonating an FIA steward.
Wow.
Well,
Can't be having
let's
that.
see. Let's see how this one turns out, because Sekai will dive straight for the pits, I would presume. There he goes. Will Toika follow him in? Yes.
I think Toika's coming in to get some damage fixed. Yep, definitely a lot of left hand down for Timu Toika, so he's coming in to get a fresh car and go again. As we're almost at the halfway point of this race.
Almost. And I'll tell you what, Toika and Sekai made up a huge lead there. Of course, Sekai travelling through the pits without taking service, and Toika is immediately away. Rick Van Dorn has been given a drive-through penalty. We're waiting on the reason. Illegal headlight brightness is the reason. I mean, his headlights aren't on at all, so, you know, you can't have that. It's getting dark.
Or is it getting light?
What is the time? Oh, it's 7:08 in the evening, so it is definitely getting dark.
Okay, it's getting darker, okay. That's valid then. And of
Gotta
course-
keep safe.
Exactly. Sekai back out even with that pit stop, and now leads by 8 seconds. With Toika coming in and getting his stop done as well. Of course, we did say that he was getting service done. And already that car has a bit of damage on the front right with the heavy landing at the jump. Can't believe how heavy they land as Van Dorn comes in. The bounce when they hit the ground over that big jump at the start line is huge.
Yeah, there's basically no opportunity for the suspension travel to actually dampen anything. JC Richards, meanwhile, given a drive-through penalty for DDoSing, that greatest of crimes. But coming off those jumps, the car definitely bottoms out. The car itself basically acts as the suspension, and it doesn't do a very good job of it.
No. It's very, very useless at it. I say I can't believe how much air the guys at the front are getting. They're just launching it over there. We spoke earlier in the first heat that the car unexpectedly will just go away from you if you don't hit the jumps properly, but these guys at the front have absolutely worked it out and the right spots to go over the jump to make sure that they don't get the car to go away from them underneath them over the jumps. So it's incredible to watch them do it. Amazing that how much air they're actually getting over the jumps. So they're doing a great job. And Sekai now leads by 8 seconds, but last lap by Toika did get a bit of an inroad back towards Sekai. Still a long way behind though, 8 seconds back. It's going to be a lot of work as Senkowski is having all sorts of issues. I think he's broken the front of that car. The front right is heavily
he has.
damaged.
Yeah, the front right's been completely destroyed on that car, and he's just missed the pit entry, so he'll have to go around another time. Speaking of Teemu Toika, that potential that he's showing may not end up going to any reasonable cause. He's just been called into the pits for falling asleep at the wheel.
Have a look at a replay of that issue for Stankowski when you get a chance to, because not only did he miss the pit entry, that was the issue. That's what caused the incident.
Oh, he tried to go into the
pits and didn't quite work. Daniel Stevens and Rick Van Dorn going at it, very, very close at the moment. They're going to come out not far away from Teemu Toika by the looks. He comes back out of the pits. Yanji
Lin down in 12th. His luck just continues to slide down as he has been given a drive-through penalty for being a sore winner.
Okay.
So both through? Oh, yes, he is too. And he'll be looking to try and get a leg up here on Stevens, who is running very strongly in 4th place. Of course, Stevens, he's been there or thereabouts in the racing so far tonight, but of course Van Doorn with that inside line, not much response that Stevens could have for that.
Yeah, exactly right. It's tough to come back. Someone just seeing Stankowski. Have a look at the position he's got his car in. He's over that little berm. He's managed to get it around at the pit entry, but amazing that he's got the car back to the pits with that damage.
Trying his best to get it up the hill, and he's going to succeed. Will he manage to steer it into his pit box, though, is the question. It looks like he's just managed to get it in. And fast repair done, out he goes. Jonathan Ben does the same.
Yep, so Stankowski will hold on to 11th position. But Sekai now 9-second lead even after that drive-through for Toika.
It's a good run from Sekai. He's not shown himself to be troubled much in his racing tonight. He's just getting out there and getting the job done, which is very rare for Maxx Bantz.
Yeah, exactly right. It almost means that he needs a penalty for that, doesn't it?
Yes,
Can we give him a black flag just because?
I don't know, man. I think, I mean, we do have admin powers in Sim, but I feel like that would mess with Sperry's vibe a little bit, so...
Yeah, we might get yelled at, mightn't we?
We might. Cody Bird, meanwhile, running in 3rd, has been given a drive-through penalty for environmental hazards, which is fair enough. I mean, this car on this track is an environmental hazard.
Just a hazard, full stop.
I think the environment refers to simply the cockpit. You're basically in danger no matter what you do.
Yep. Daniel Stevens got a bit of a run here on Rick Van Dorn. I've just seen something's happened to Sekai. He's off the circuit and he's back in the pits. So he's ended up off the track. Yep, he's done.
What on earth?
What has happened to Sekai?
He came to a stop at the exit.
He blew it up.
Oh, he did. Oh no. That's completely ruined it.
It's hit the jump too hard. And it's just over revved up the hill. As it's come back down, it's gone kaboom.
That is such a shame for Mehdi. He's going to have to wait for the tow time too.
Yep.
That is the race completely lost.
Yep, so Toika now in the lead. So this changes everything. Teemu Toika could steal a win.
He certainly could, and meanwhile Daniel Stevens has been given another drive-through penalty. The reason for this one, pretending to be even more of an idiot, according to Sperry.
Wow.
His words, not mine. Well, Toika, he seems pretty comfortable here, out in the lead, but that 5 seconds or so back to Cody Bird.
There was a pig on its side there.
Ooh. Oh, speak of the devil, drive-through penalty for Teemu Toika for claiming that the FIA is competent. Of course, we're not referring to the Federation Internationale del Automobile of that. In this case, FIA in Maxx Bantz terms stands for the Federation of Incompetent Ass Clowns.
love Maxx Bantz. I love Maxx Bantz. It's just so
I
much
do
fun.
too.
Van Dorn versus Cody Bird. This is getting very, very tight for the last 2 spots on the podium. This was the fight for 3rd and 4th, but it's now the fight for 2nd and 3rd with those issues to Seko. He's actually come back out of the pits and back into 5th position. As Toika will come across the line to get the white flag, but he'll have to come into the pits at the same time.
Yeah, he certainly will.
Oh,
He's taking it very easy. Oh no. Oh no. Nate Stewart. That's problematic.
Something.
It looks like he's pretty comfortable there, though. Oh, Nate's just been given a drive-through penalty for being stuck in the fence.
Yeah, this is going to be close. TV Toika's going to hold onto the lead by the looks. But Bird versus Van Dorn is very, very tight for that last podium spot. But Timu Toika now, he's got the final run to the line. And he's got a fairly decent lead.
Yep, and the blows continue for Medi Sekai. Meanwhile, he's been given another drive-through penalty for losing his license and voiding his warranty by exploding the engine. So, a big shame for him, but Timu Toika, my goodness, he was there for the first Maxx Bantz, and now he does it. He is a son of banter. Big congratulations for Timu Toika in the number 46. He is Maxx Bantz champion. He is a son of banter.
Cody Bird gets 2nd position in the end. Rick Van Dorn has a massive launch over the finish line, finishes in 3rd, and Daniel Stevens in 4th. I say that piggy definitely can fly. It's done a pretty good job in the end there.
Certainly has. Good job to the MFR guys for giving it a red-hot go. I mean, the result just speaks for itself. Eric Intley, meanwhile, in position 5, just exiting the final turn now. And only...
There are cars everywhere.
I mean, what is going on the start-finish stretch? Senkowski's on his roof. Yanji Lin is going backwards through pit lane right now.
Dean Mole stuck in the fence now too.
Oh no. Will he be given a drive-through penalty for that?
Probably.
Oh god. Wow. It looks like they're having a proper love in there, Nate Stewart and Dean Mole. Spending some quality time.
That's how new cars get made.
Yes, it is.
That's how minis get made.
I think we should stop with that analogy right now before it gets even worse. Looks like more people are trying to join the party here. The usual end of Maxx Bantz celebrations shall continue for a very long time, but the final results then. Timu Toika takes the victory in Maxx Bantz 7. Cody Bird and Rick Van Dorn complete the podium. Daniel Stevens in 4th with Eric Intley rounding out the top 5. Medi Sekai in 6th, but he had huge potential in this event. Hopefully we see you back for future ones, Medi. JC Richards in 7th and Meeperson in 8th, taking the burb home in the top 10. Yuanji Lin in 9th, and Sean O'Hara rounds out the top 10.
Yep, then we got Dean Mole and Neil Senkowski. Neil's 3 laps down with Jonathan Ben, as well as Austin Knight, Scott Sovic, and Nate Stewart, all a fair way back in the end. Unfortunate for Joshua Carroll Walden, because he was doing a great job in his heat at the start of the night, and Jordan Watson finishes 13 laps down, unfortunately, as well. And what a night it's been. It's been thoroughly entertaining once again for Maxx Bantz.
It certainly has been, and the guy who will be celebrating the most at the end of it joins us in the commentary box now. Timu Toika, welcome. You are a son of banter.
Wow, thank you. I didn't think I'd ever be a son of banter, but here I am.
Well, you were there all the way back when we started Maxx Bantz. I know that you were one of the biggest promoters of the format, so it must feel good to finally get that WinRAR trophy.
Yeah, I've been always a supporter of maximum banter, and this race format has been always one of my favorites, especially during week 13, and it's an honor to win this fight.
Well, you have the spoils. I have just sent you the WinRAR trophy over Discord. Enjoy it, Timu, and certainly, I think it will be one of the most significant trophies to add to your cabinet.
Oh hell yeah! This is one of the most prestigious trophies that I've ever won, or that I can ever win. And yeah.
Just don't try to sell it on eBay. You won't get anything for it.
Oh crap.
Ah, well, there goes your master plan, Timu. Before we let you go, man, and congratulations once again. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to as the son of banter?
Well, I'd like to thank every driver in these Maxx Bantz heats and final who were bad enough to let me win. Yeah, thanks team, thank you broadcaster, thank you Sperry and Reese for hosting this, and yeah, see you maybe next time.
Next time will certainly be in 13 weeks' time. Timu Toika, your son of banter for Maxx Bantz VII, the Netcode Awakens. And joining us also, Jake Sperry. Wow, that event went off incredibly well, Jake. Did it end up bringing everything you expected?
I think it did. And I think you have to look at this event and go, yes, it's a slow car. Yes, it's a difficult track. But that was the whole point. This is a car that struggles to get up the hills. This is a car that struggled to stay with each other on that start because of the fact that the pace truck even was so quick. I thought it was a fantastic event. Once again, proof of testament to Maxx Bantz, proof of testament to Mutoika being absolutely amazing as probably one of the greatest servants Maxx Bantz ever had.
Yeah, and he finally gets that honor to put on his mantelpiece. So, for the next event, Sperry, what kinds of ideas are swimming around in your head?
Oh, I've got so many. My inner machinations of my mind are an enigma.
Well, we certainly won't get a straight answer to that question, but the straight answer to the question of there being another Maxx Bantz is certainly not a bendy one. Maxx Bantz is going to happen next week 13. We like to do it every single week 13 on the iRacing service. So if you are interested in taking part, you'll have to wait a few more months, unfortunately, but we will have information up when we decide what on earth we're doing, Sperry. So that brings to an end proceedings for tonight, Jay.
Hang on.
Oh.
Just before we do, we've got Rick Van Dorn here, who's very
Oh.
graciously got to third place.
He certainly has. Welcome, Rick. My goodness, it was a big jump from you, starting from 11th and finishing third in the end. But that was quite the eventful one for you.
Yeah, definitely. There were much more battles in the final than in Heat 2, which I was in. So it was a lot more fun. It was a lot more difficult. I think it helped that the FIA accepted my were very gracious with only giving me one penalty.
Ah.
So yeah, that probably helped in getting me to that podium. But
It
yeah,
must
it was a
certainly
very
have.
difficult drive.
Yeah, it definitely didn't look like it was fun out there, but I mean, the challenge offered up by this car track combo is certainly unique. Do you see this as becoming a serious event format, Pontiac Solstice on these dirt tracks? How do you think that would go?
I mean, I think they would have to get a lot of those Pontiacs in stock, and I think that will be quite difficult at this time, seeing as the company, But yeah, it would be very fun, but I don't know if the resources are available for it, to be honest.
Well, we may have to, instead of storming Area 51, storm the old Pontiac plant and get them to start making the Solstice again. That's a social media campaign I can get behind. Well, Rick,
Oh, definitely.
before we let you go, man, any shout-outs from you?
Shout out to the worst endurance team, Team Teppa, for allowing me to do this. Shout out to the FIA for not completely destroying me. Shout out to my competitors for dying, and for a good race. And yeah, that's about it.
Excellent stuff. Thank you very much for joining us, Rick Van Doorn.
No
Well,
problem, man.
Sperry, after that, we come to the end of the night, and well, it just continues going on, doesn't it? The mind is swimming, the cogs are turning. There's always going to be some kind of subversion with these events.
There always is, and part of the Maxx Bantz legacy to see just how far iRacing can go and how far iRacing's parameters can be pushed. This is more than just a test of drivers and a test of broadcasting. It's also a test of iRacing itself, and I love doing this all the time and seeing every week 13 just how many drivers more and more signing up and wanting to be a part of this, and at the end of it, can all have a little bit of the bubbly.
Yeah, a little bit of the bubbly, that being, I suppose, lemonade or some kind of non-alcoholic beverage, because don't drink and drive, kids. We bring proceedings to an end here. Thanks very much for joining all the drivers in this one. Thank you very much for watching across Twitch and YouTube as well. Thank you very much to our audience. Without your support, this would be absolutely nowhere. And we would also like to thank Jake Sperry for allowing us a little bit of a window into his madness. I'm Reese Gardner. Jay Kennedy joined me. Jake Sperry as well, briefly at the end. Your son of banter is Teemu Toika. Maxx Bantz VII, the Netcode Awakens, is run. It is done. It is won.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got everything outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up top.
Oh my god! Oh! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?